Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Judy's Creations in Crochet. It's been a couple of weeks since I was last here with you. I hope those extra little videos kept you busy during the week I was away. I noticed that not near as many people watch them as watch my regular videos. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of everything I do. Now, I don't do a lot of videos. I just put one a week out unless there's something special. Also, it would really help from those of you that are regular subscribers now, if you would please hit that thumbs up. And I really do appreciate getting comments. Some of you are very good about commenting all the time. And I'd appreciate hearing from more of you. It makes a difference in the algorithm so that my video gets out there more for others to see. Okay, what are we going to cover today? Well, before I get started, I just wanted to tell you about the progress in my garden. A lot of you wished me fun, I guess, in the garden. Actually, the garden is work for me. Videotaping is fun. I really do enjoy coming to you weekly with my videos. So how did I progress in the garden? I did manage to get all my hostas out, and I did manage to get all my planting done. But my gardens are somewhat extensive, and the weeds are terrible. And that's the part I hate the most. And that's the last step pretty much that I do before I bring in mulch. So I haven't got them weeded yet. I am hoping that I will get the weeding done this week as long as the rain holds off. They're predicting rain again, and our temperatures have been up and down and freezing almost one day and up quite warm where some people needed air conditioning other days. And then there was a big storm blew through the area and touched down a little farther northeast of me, almost like a tornado. I was very fortunate. Nothing. I did see the wind blow through, but it wasn't bad. So some of you said you'd actually be interested in seeing my gardens, and I really would like to share them with you. You would be very surprised at what I have in this very small yard. And I was hoping to show them to you maybe next week if I get the weeding done. If not, it'll be the week after that. But in the meantime, I am going to insert a picture right here. I'll make some space. I'm going to insert a picture here of just one picture, or maybe two, that I took today in my front garden out by a small garden out by the street where I have a lilac bush. I was afraid that if I waited until I had the episode ready to go to show you all of the gardens, that lilac bush would have gone dead. Not the bush, but the flowers would be gone. Lilacs only last for a week, 10 days at the most. And I was very impressed with this particular lilac bush that I'm showing you because it rarely gives me a lot of blooms. I have two others in the front that are just starting to blossom, and hopefully they'll still be blossoming when I do the video. But this bush is way more than it has ever done before, and it's early. It's really early. So I just thought I would show you this picture. And please note, at the base of the lilac bush on the one side, you can see a hosta. The other side view is a rhododendron beside it that hasn't blossomed yet. So I will do an episode taking you through all of my gardens and all of the varieties of hostas that I have. So for today, I think I'm going to start a little different today. I think I'm going to start with yarn from one company. I had two to show you, but I don't think there'll be enough time, so I'll save one for the next time. So I happened, like a lot of you, to watch Crystal at Bag O' Day do an unboxing a little while ago from a company called Michigan Fine Yarns. I believe that's the name of it. And interestingly enough, this yarn store is in a suburb, you might say, of Detroit. I believe it's either in Livonia or Ann Arbor. I forget which. But I mean, it's part of Detroit, and Detroit is just really an hour from me, even though I'm Canadian on the Canadian side of the border. Detroit's just an hour away, but I wouldn't be going there anytime soon. But somebody else, I'm trying to remember, another crochet channel actually did a tour in the store and showed the video, and it is huge. Now, there'd be a place I would like to go someday, but I don't like driving in Detroit. Too big and too busy for me. But anyway, after seeing what Crystal got, I just had to check it out, and I made a small order. Now, I don't know if you remember, maybe a month ago, I told you I bought some yarn from Karen Hooley, who was destashing. And I bought these 3 skeins of yarn. And I really like them. They are a Malabrigo. They have the darndest tags. There's a Malabrigo, and I don't know what it is actually called, but it is a combination of yarn and silk. I think it's half and half, merino yarn and silk. And is it DK weight? You get 150 yards in it, so it must be DK weight. And I really, really liked it. I'd never seen it before. So this particular store, when I went looking, they had this Malabrigo. So I just had to buy some more. So I bought it in 2 more colors. The first one is this. Got some of my colors in there, a little bit different. That's almost a rusty color, with the purples and the blues and the teals. And again, it's 150 yards. Oh, 51% silk and 49% merino. And so, of course, I bought 3 because that's enough to make some of the scarves, especially the CJ Brady scarves that I like to make. So I bought that color, which is sort of my colors. But this one, oh, I love this one. Now, there are my colors. It feels silky. It does not feel as silky as Pearlescent from EFA. Their pearlescent fingering, it's fingering, this is DK, although they don't look much difference in the weight. Theirs is 50-50, and this is 51-49, not much difference, but it is much silkier, but there is a sheen to it. And very pretty, very pretty. I'm really looking forward to making something out of that. So I bought those 2 groups, but they had this other yarn that Crystal showed that I was really taken with. And it's actually a mixture of nylon and rayon. It's a rayon metallic. And it is a DK weight. It's actually blue Heron yarn. Blue Heron yarns. And I don't know of any other place you can get it except at this Michigan Fine Yarns. And it's a very big hank because it is actually a double-sized hank. DK usually has about 250 yards, depending on who's making it and what it's made of. But this It has 550 yards. 550 yards. And this is called Carnival. Isn't this beautiful? Now, oh, look at, there's a nice bright red in there. I'm going to get a lot of different colors in this. And I have decided what I'm going to make. I saw Crystal actually make a shawl out of one that was a little lighter than this. The whole skein was maybe as light as this or lighter. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, it was the sparkles that called to me. Crystal loves sparkle as well. This one is called, I think it's called pumpkin pie, but it's 550 yards of a DK. So it's basically double 275, which is a good size hank. And although this is expensive, when you think about buying two hanks, this is cheaper than normal. So I am really looking forward to making the shawl that Crystal shows. It's a circular one, and I don't know if I'm going to do it in the tonal or if I'm going to do it in the variegated colors. But that is the yarn that I wanted to show you today. Now, let's get to finished objects. Let's start with, what am I wearing? Now, for those of you that have been following me since almost the beginning, you'll remember that I wore this in the fall, maybe even a couple of times. And this is the same pattern that if you watch Setta's Place, she has this same, it's kind of a cape, poncho, and it's just lots of chains. And I made it with this yarn. You'll know why I'm telling you again. I made it with this yarn, which is a Vitilana yarn from Knit Crate. And it is 48% merino, 20% baby alpaca, and 22% organic cotton. And this is called Wee Violets. Well, I had two skeins or cakes of this color. And as you know, I'm getting ready for a summer craft show at the end of June. And I wanted to make some summery kinds of things. So I knew I had the same yarn, but in a different color. And I don't know if I have, yeah, I don't have the colorway with me. I think I forgot it upstairs. But this is the second cake. I actually used a little bit of this cake, and I had to make this twice. This is how they look when you make them. They're just pretty straight, but they're very stretchy because of the chains. And I think this has got a bigger neck. Some people like a sloppy neck. I like a little tighter, so you can tell I've added some rows inside. And I made this, and when I was all done, I was ready to toss it, because although I had the right neck, somehow I made a mistake and it would not expand. It came out about this wide and it wouldn't expand, and I couldn't understand why. And I made a second one with a bigger hook, and same thing. And I was totally frustrated and could not figure out what was wrong. And so I happened later to go back, and if I will find, it's Olga somebody, I will find the video tutorial that Setta used and I used, and I will put it in the description box below. And I found out that she said to every other one up here, and I wasn't paying attention at the beginning. She said skip the first block and then do the second one, and I didn't watch any further, and I was skipping all of the blocks. So I only had half as many chains. That just shows you need to follow all instructions and pay attention. No wonder it was half the size it should have been. And I went back and I fixed it after that. I pulled it out and redid it. And the reason I found it my mistake is because I had started another one and gave it to my friend to finish because she wanted it. And then she decided she didn't want it and gave it back to me. So I have another one, and I looked at it closely and I could see what I had done wrong because this one was half done. I could see what I had done wrong and was able to go back and redo the orange one so that it was done right. So anyway, I made the orange one twice. I made another one that I had to tear out in this color, and I will finish it at some point. But anyway, this next one, same pattern, and I think people can use this as, you know, an over a tank top. Some people might like it as a beach cover-up. And this particular one, oh, I got a charm on there I better take off. I don't want to be getting rid of that. I have these. I don't know how many of you have seen them, but I bought them on Etsy. And they are charms, like stitch markers, which is forward. It does not want to cooperate. Oh, so it has to go this way. That looks like it's, how do I get it right side up? There. You're reading that properly now? It says 4.0. I bought a whole set of these, and you can buy them with, it's upside down. You can buy them with letters on them as well, but these are meant to be stitch markers. So, and I forget to use them, but I'm going to make sure I do. You can, like a stitch marker, put this on your project. Got a lobster claw. Put it on your project, and then if you put it aside for a while, you can remember what size of hook you used. And I have a bad habit of forgetting what size of hook, and then I used to leave the hook with it. Well, then all your hooks are in project bags. So this is the ideal way to put this on your project, and then you remember the size of hook. Well, I digressed. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today. Anyway, the yarn I used for this is Traboo. So that makes for a really, really nice summer project. I used less than 2 balls, about 1.5. So I think I can get 2 out of 3 balls. And it is 100% rayon from bamboo. And there are 240 yards or 220 meters in 1 ball of Traboo. And I think I also have some Nubu, which I have some that has sparkle in it. So I may try making one of those in the Nubu as well, because they feel much the same, although I think Nubu is the one with lyocell in it. But a great fiber for summer wear. So I have more of this in other colors, so I will be probably making a couple more of those. Okay, so those are cover-ups that I made for my sale at the end of June. Now, if you remember the last time we were together, I showed you a shawl, and it was made out of the cotton cake from Stenley, and I wasn't really very happy with it. So I decided to take out that last row, and I redid it, and I put more of the other colors so there would be more color changing in it. It's going to be hard to show you this entire thing, but there's the bottom And hopefully you can see the color change is a little more gradual. There is one more shift of color before you get to the dark, and it's in it now. And then I did the dark, and I did 2 rows at the end. And this is really large, but it is the one that's called the Butterfly Shawl. I think you can see the butterflies there in the center. They are along the edges too, but they're most noticeable in the center. And I took a picture of this out on the fence, so I'm going to put in a picture right now. So that gives you an idea how this looks. I am much, much happier with it now that I have changed the bottom of it. So that's another shawl completed. Let me just kind of fold this up and get it out of the way. And I have another shawl to show you. And I didn't just complete this shawl. I was making a shawl in the winter, I believe. I think it started right in the new year. And it was part of a crochet along. And I honestly can't remember the name of the pattern person. It was on Facebook that I came across it. And you had to use yarn from Crochet UK. There's their logo. That's the color name right there. And they have a lot of very beautiful cakes of yarns. You can see it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic. And there are 1,200 meters in the cake. They're cakes like the ones from Hobby and Sheepies and so on. This one is 4-ply, and for those that don't deal in metric, it's another 10% more. So it's about 1,300, a little over 1,300 yards, 1,200 meters. And I made this at the time, and then I wasn't happy with it. And I'll tell you why, and then I changed my mind. It was a beautiful sort of rainbow gradient, and it started with yellow, which progressed into pink, and then into mauve, and finally into a bluey aqua kind of color. You can see it as different sections. It wasn't too hard of a pattern. I'm not crazy about posts. There's a front post, I think single crochets, which I like even less than front post double crochets. And more posts up there. And the reason I didn't like it was simply that if you wear this, when you wear this, you have all of this big pocket of yellow, and you know I don't care for yellow, up by the face. And I wished I had started at the other end and put these beautiful blues and mauves up by the face. And the yellow would not have been as noticeable had it been at the bottom, where it's, you know, it's so much wider and it spreads it out. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'm never going to wear it like this. I don't know why I was concerned about it, because I'm probably not going to wear this. I'm probably going to sell it. But anyway, I put it aside and said, my Make 9, if you remember, I have a Make 9 card in the works. I put it aside for now until after the end of June. But I had a pattern in there that had a big shawl that cries out for rainbow colors like this. And I had decided to just take this apart, and as I pulled it out, I would make the other shawl. I chose this to make that pattern. I chose as many as I could ahead and put them aside. Well, I was going through my various project bags and so on the other day, and I come across this, and I thought, well, you're probably not going to keep this. I mean, I have all kinds of choices of shawls and what have you. So, what does it matter if it's got yellow at the top? Somebody is going to really like the yellow at the top. And why take it apart? You have one more shawl made that, you know, if you took it apart again, what a waste of all of your hours of work. So I decided to finish it off. It had the ends had to be filled in, and it was, I think, half a row, and it didn't have enough to finish the row, so I had to take out the partial last row, and then I had to finish off a couple of ends, and there it is. I better show you the front. And it really is quite beautiful, although it's got way more yellow than I like in a project. But it is another finished object, and I'm sure there are people that would absolutely love it. There aren't a lot of people that really just have a distaste of yellow the way I do. So that's another shawl I have done and intend to take with me to the craft show in June. So I do have quite a number of shawls now. So I need to back off on shawls, but I have another one in the works. Anyhow, now, what about Hope? You haven't seen Hope yet. Well, just before we see Hope, I brought this with me again. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was doing the review of all of the Expression Fiber Arts yarns, I made this shawl. And this is an EFA pattern called a Boho triangular shawl. And it was made with the resilient sock yarn. You use 2 strands, and it has, if you remember why I didn't like it, it has all this stretchy pull in it, which is great for socks. And actually for this particular shawl, it's great for it too. Now, why do I show you this again? Not that I need to show you this again, but what I wanted to show you is I took this pattern and I made 2 of them and put them together. You know, my space here, definitely not big enough. Let me see if I can move over a bit more. I put 2 of them together just here. It's open beyond this little space here and the little space there, and it's open. But it is that same pattern front and back. It's a very easy and fairly quick shawl to make because it is made with all triple crochets. Everything is, it's triple crochet for 2 rows and then triple crochet, chain 1, skip 1 for the 3rd row, and that's all. That's a 3-row repeat, all triple crochets. I did not, of course, put all the fringe on it, but I thought that makes a really nice poncho, and it would be summery because it's very open. And it could be dressy because I happen to use a yarn called Date Night. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And it was very simple to just sew a teeny bit. It's about maybe 2 inches on either side of the shoulder, and it leaves it open. And I thought, well, my, that is quite attractive. I really quite enjoyed it, and I was glad that it worked because I have Date Night in several colors, and I had tried, as you can see, I took it apart. I had tried making a wrap with it, and as I was making it, I thought, oh, I don't like this at all. I didn't like the texture. Now I know what was wrong with what I was doing. I was making something fairly solid, and this is not nice as a solid. There is a little bit of stretch, not a lot in this. And Date Night is from Lion Brand. And of course, I like the sparkles. And I found that making something as open as this, and it has the bounce to it, but being open made for a much nicer texture using Date Night, because what I made was not nice at all. And I've seen another pattern, actually Crystal has a couple, but she has one that is open chains like this. Actually, she has two that are open chains like this, with a bit of neck, and I think it has a solid row in the middle. And they would work up very nice in this Date Night by Lion Brand. So let me tell you a little bit about it. It is 82% acrylic and 18% polyester. All the Date Nights are sparkly. See how this is got a pink sparkle going through it. I have it in a sort of teal, light teal or aqua color, and this is called Lapis, which is meant to be like a blue. I have another one that is in like a charcoaly color, and so I'm going to make another one of these in, oh, and I have a silvery one. I'm going to make another one of these in Date Night, and then I may try making Crystal's patterns that are open chain work like this. They're meant to be like a poncho, but they could be worn as a beach cover-up as well. I don't think they want a sparkly beach cover-up, but I am going to make the other patterns in one of these colors and just see how it works. So this took I didn't tell you how much is in it. 250 meters, 273 yards, and it took 3 to make this, 1.5 for each side. And I did make it probably a little bit longer than I made the original one here. So it could be a little bit smaller depending on what your tension is like. But I was really happy to see that and find a way to use this, because I was getting ready to get rid of this yarn, as pretty as it was. But now I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's all of the finished objects I have to show you. But I'm going to do something I don't do too much of. And that is, I'm going to show you a whip. I decided that I was going to start completing some of these things that I have in timeout. It wasn't a whip, it was a UFO. It's become a whip now. I'm actually working on 2 or 3 things at the same time, trying out things for the craft show. I will have more to show you in another week or 2. And I brought this UFO out of hibernation. And I'm also working on a test pattern. I won't say any more about that right now. But I decided to pull this out and do it because it would be good for the summer. So I will show you the start, and you won't see it again until it's done. Hopefully next time we talk I will have it done. So here's the beginning of it, and it's called, if my memory serves me correct, it's called Sugar Plum Fairies, I believe. Sugar Plum Fairy. And you really have to pay attention with this. I had more done, and that's why it went into timeout. I found I had a major mistake, and I had to pull out a bunch. And when I pulled it out of timeout a while back, I still had more mistake I had to pull out. But I think I know where I am now. Anyway, I want to show you Oh, and it's by Rachie New, and I won't post it until I've finished. Um, I'll put the link to the pattern when I have completed it. But I am using a cake from Hobby, and it's in one of these things that goes through the lid, so I can't get it out very easily, but I showed you this before. Isn't that beautiful? And I started from the outside, you can tell, because I have this thing that I think the light color should be at the top and the dark colors at the bottom. But I have a second cake of this, and I'm going to make something else, another shawl, where I start with the dark and work out. But for this one, I just started at the light. So that's something I just pulled out yesterday, and I'm thinking that tonight I'm going to work on that and hopefully have it done the next time I show you some of my work. Now, my plan for next week, my plan is to give you a tour of the gardens and explain what has gone on. It's been quite a process to get these gardens, and why I even bothered to do all this work to get these hostas. And just as a little bit of a game, you don't have to participate, but I have a normal size lot. I believe it's 55 by 110 with a front to back split home on it and a carport and a double wide drive. So, you know, I don't have a big yard. And I had to uproot one side of my backyard. I'll explain next week. And that's where I started to plant hostas. And I'd be curious to know, how many hostas do you think I have in this small yard? I'm going to leave you to make a guess, and I'll tell you next week. So, all going well, weather cooperating, getting the weeding done this week. We're going to take a tour of the gardens next week. But if the weather does not cooperate and I don't get my work done, I will put it off to the following week. And so next week, I'll just show more finished objects. And I have some yarn I received in the mail, a month or more ago, that I will show as well. So hopefully the weather will cooperate, because I'd love to show you my gardens next week. But in the meantime, happy hooking.